Welcome to Canadian Innovators, the show that celebrates innovation, entrepreneurs, and the Canadian spirit. I'm Jocelyn Bamford, and every week we introduce a new entrepreneur or expert in the economy to tell their stories and unpack the challenges of keeping jobs in Canada, as well as share ideas for economic growth and prosperity. Today on the program, we tackle the issue of diversity, equity, and inclusion policies and their impact on the workplace. The recent suicide of Toronto School Board Principal Richard Blackstow after a lawsuit against the school board in which he charged that the outside consultant, Kiki Ojo-Thompson, founder of the Kojo Institute, harassed him during training when he took issue of her portrayal of Canada being much more racist than the United States. This has thrust the DEI training into the spotlight. What are DEI policies and training? Will they be mandated by the workplace, by the government? What impact are they having on the workplace? What are the unintended consequences of this training, and who writes the curriculum? Joining us to discuss is journalist, author, and researcher Rupa Subramanya. Rupa holds a graduate degree in economics and international affairs from Carleton University with more than 10 years' experience in public policy analysis. Ms. Subramanya has been a columnist for the National Post, the Wall Street Journal, Foreign Policy, the Globe and Mail, and the True North, among others. And she is a writer for the Free Press. She is frequently interviewed by the international media at many outlets, such as the New York Times, Financial Times, and the BBC, as well as many think tanks. Welcome to the program, Rupa. I'm so happy to have you.
Thanks, Jocelyn. I also should note that I write for the Free Press. That's where I'm, currently writing. I'm a full-time writer for the Free Press.
Wonderful. Rupa, can you tell us, a lot of people don't even know what DEI training and policies are.
So DEI, D stands for diversity, E stands for equity, and I stands for inclusion. And it's basically a training program that is meant to promote all of those things in the workplace or in our schools or and elsewhere. So you want basically the idea is to ensure that the workplace is a hospital environment for people of diverse backgrounds to work in. So it's meant to educate people on these issues and to be respectful of each other and that sort of thing. So the intention and the premise of DEI training, I think, is well intentioned. I think everybody wants, even if you don't believe in DEI training, I think we all want to be part of a workplace that is diverse and it's fair and it's inclusive and so on and so forth. But what happened with DEI training is that it experienced a rapid expansion, I believe, in 2020 and 2021, shortly after the death of George Floyd, which resulted in riots across the US and protests across the world. And it's, in my opinion, at least right now, it's currently undergoing a period of critical self-assessment. And it's been a thriving industry in the US, for example. I think they've, according to a McKinsey report, about $8 billion a year is spent on DEI training. But there's also been, as I pointed out earlier, there's also been a lot of criticism about DEI training. First of all, what are the results? How do you assess these things? You spend so much money on this, but what exactly are you getting out of it? And a lot of people have come to the conclusion that DEI training ultimately ends up benefiting the practitioners of DEI, not necessarily the intended beneficiaries. My own sense, my own opinion of the DEI industry is that I have a pretty cynical perspective on this whole thing, and especially while working on the story, which I'm sure we'll be talking about in a little while, is that a significant amount of this money is spent by big corporations. And these are educated people who are carrying on about how concerned and how much they care about
So Rupa,
DEI. But
I'm gonna hold you there. We're gonna get back to it. We got to go to commercial. You're watching Canadian Innovators.